for clicking into this tutorial, which is basically, or hopefully going to be a new series on this channel where I teach you, or show you rather, how to make exhibits, enclosures, habitats, and so on and so forth. So yeah, today we're going to be working on a grizzly bear walkthrough enclosure. So there are obviously grizzly bears in the game. They're super cool. This is actually the first grizzly bear exhibit that I have built. I haven't built one in my zoos before, so this is very exciting. It's a pretty cool first episode. So what I wanted to do was have a sort of path that went in between two mountains, and there was two sides on either side, and that the guests could walk through and view the bears on either side or around on top of another deck viewing gallery. So they're able to walk through the exhibit without being bitten, because that's the main priority. So we have this nice glass round piece that basically I've used before. It's not necessarily meant for this, but you know what? We're going to use it. So we put a pathing system down, and then we put the glass dome over the top, lowered it down because it is supposed to be like above a path, quite tall or quite high. So you lower it down into the ground and make it nice and flush with the path, or not. If you don't want it to be flush with the ground, that's your preference. But we added some walls in there after as well to get a nice flush construction feel to it. So we're just adding the bears in now. But yes, we put the domes over the path, so now theoretically the guests can walk through without getting eaten. You can do this with maybe like a tall fence. Well, it's probably not really the same effect immersively, so I definitely wanted to feel like you're walking through their world. I have done another version of this, but underwater. So you walk through underwater, you can see the animals swimming. That's very cool. If you want to go check it out, it'll be linked down below. But for this one, we are doing it with bears. So if I were to go back, I'd probably make it a little bit longer, just because I think maybe once you're walking through there, it's not maybe the most like lengthy path in the world, but that's okay. I think it adds to it being nice and small. It adds to like the size factor of like the bears, because they can get really big and then they can get up close and personal with the glass. We added a few food enrichment items right close to the glass, so the bears actually come really close to it. And they also come, as you can see here, there is a path that goes up and around on either side, so the bears can walk above the glass dome and get to the other side and so forth. So I was just working on that here because it was a little bit glitchy, so we wanted it to be good. So apparently the bears couldn't climb up that incline, but they could climb a tree. Like, I don't understand it. What are you doing, Frontier? But we got it in the end. We connected it all up so the bears can walk from one side up, around, over the dome, and connect back to the other side. And I think it looks really good. So this is what I was talking about here with adding some side pieces. You don't have to necessarily do this. I just think it added a little bit more of a realistic vibe to it, because otherwise it would sort of just be morphed into rock and ground. So I wanted it to make it feel like it's actually connected to the wall rather than just the ground, if that makes sense. And also, I wasn't the best with doing this I didn't really know what I wanted to do here, so I sort of just filled it in with a wall and added some rocks and stuff, and it looks alright in the end. But maybe if you're wanting to do something else, you could do well, I don't know. That's the beauty of it. You can do whatever the hell you want. So yes, we finished that wall. We didn't do one on the other side just because there's nothing on the other side for the guests. It's just going to be, this is what the series, well, potentially series, if you enjoy it, is going to be like. Just building an enclosure, not fully detail it because that shit takes time. But we'll do like I think like a 75%, 80% finished enclosure. Definitely. But yeah, there's nothing on the other side of it, so we don't really do any decorating on the other side of the walkway, there's no building or anything like that, so it's just walk in one way, have a look around, walk back the same way. There will be a walkthrough at the end of the episode if you'd rather just see the finished product in a POV style without me chatting. So if you are wanting to see that, just skip to the end and you'll see it. But for the people that are actually interested in seeing how I built it and what I did, thanks for tuning in. Now, obviously, I didn't probably choose the right, map for the bears because they're actually quite cold bears. Believe it or not, grizzly bears, they like the coldness. So yeah, this map was actually quite hot for them, so we had to add a bunch of sprinklers, but also coolers. You can get coolers and heaters in the game for such events. So yeah, we added a bunch of coolers just to cool them down and get their, body temperature nice, and we did that. They're very happy with this enclosure, and so am I. So we're just working on a custom fence, really. I've never built an enclosure for a bear before, so I didn't really know what sort of fence to do, so I just did one that's not climbable, because you don't want a bear climbing your fence, because that's not ideal. Let's be real. You don't want a bear climbing a fence. So yeah, we put this fence all the way around and morph it into some mountains on either side so it looks more realistic and doesn't look as ugly with this massive fence going all the way around. It's sort of just at the front there. So yeah, we morph it into some mountains on either side, add some more rocks and trees in to make it blend a little bit better. And then we also add an above path to the mountain on the right there. So we'll add a path up there, some nice little fence there, so the guests can also have like an above ground view rather than sort of, I think of it as like an underground view. It's not through the tube. So that's what I think that it is. It's not really, but yeah, we've got an underground one and above ground one. I was also made like a little cave here for their sleeping, regime, and then also this cool little dock that I found. So we get rid of like half of it because it's in a U shape and add it so the bears can actually walk along it to their sleeping place. They can also eat on it. There's a food platter on there, if you will. So yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I'll definitely be using that in more builds because it's pretty sick. It saves a lot of time rather than having to build like a little custom jetty. So yeah, now we are working on the sign, which is just a basic, it literally just says Grizzly. Like, there's nothing too fancy about it. Pretty simple. I wasn't really too fussed about what it looked like too much. It was more of the actual enclosure that I was more focused on rather than just a sign. So yeah, we did that and got that all worked out, and now we're going to be working on the pathway that goes to the top of the side of the mountain and then gets a nice little different point of view up there, which is it's very nice. You can see like their little dock there, and then also because they're around there a lot because there's their food and also their sleeping area, you can get a nice cool view of like them just doing stuff, which is pretty cool. I wasn't too fussed on how this fence looked. It was a bit rush, so we sort of just covered it in rocks. That's what you can do a lot in this game, just cover a lot of stuff with rocks and nature, and it looks good. And that's my tip for the day. Add rocks, Yeah, so this is the first episode of How to Build. I hope you enjoyed it. They're short and sweet, just like me. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully. See ya.